Hey y'all. Okay, so back for another video. Of course it's late here, but good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is wherever you may be. Wanted to do a video today that I actually intended to do before Harvey hit, because it's something I typically stay on top of, but it's planning ahead for the holidays. I really, especially with 4 kids, I like to plan very far ahead for the holidays. Like, I like them to have their Christmas list done before school starts. And especially because if you're like a multi-faith household, there's a lot of holidays. There's a lot to keep track of. Like, that's why I feel like I missed, like, it felt like Rosh Hashanah really snuck up on me this year. So there's a lot coming up. Halloween's, no, it's not next week, it's the Tuesday after, so really soon. So, especially if you observe like Samhain or Dia de los Muertos, and then if you observe Thanksgiving, and if you live in America, we really don't, because I'm not down with that. But then, Hanukkah, Christmas, Yule, New Year's. So there's a lot coming up. And you really, it can get overwhelming really fast. And so what I'm going to talk about is just what I like to do to keep it kind of minimally overwhelming. I don't like that feeling, so I try to keep it all to a minimum. So what I like to do is first off decide whether you are going anywhere for the holidays or not. We generally don't attend family holidays because it's a lot of people, and when you have, when you're dealing with special needs, when you have autism and ADHD going on with your kiddos, and a lot of people really don't get it. We're just going to try to put it nicely, or don't want to get it, or don't believe it's a thing. It can make it very difficult. And we always say, I hated traveling to family members' houses when I was a kid for the holidays. So did my husband. So we both agreed when we have kids, we wouldn't travel to other people's houses. We have I hate to say a strict schedule, but you guys, it's a strict schedule. We have to maintain a routine to keep everyone as happy as possible. It is what it is. So when people aren't as understanding or accommodating of that, which is fine, it's their house, they don't have to, but if they're not going to, then we're probably just not going to go. So we usually don't. There's also some pretty unique child safety concerns when you start dealing with kiddos like mine. And a lot of people don't necessarily understand that or respect it. And so it's just much easier to stay home. If we wanted to go on vacation, if we wanted to go do something ourselves, that's fine. The kids like that. And they love hotels. They're obsessed with hotels. But they kind of need to feel like they have their own space and freedom, I guess. So we just don't. But decide early on, are you going or are you not? Whose family are you going to this year? And just kind of go ahead and map all that out. And then you can go ahead now, and because I'm a big planner, I like to plan, I like to make lists, lots of lists on top of lists, and like a list to keep track of all my lists. I love it. So I can stay very organized. And so what I would do now is go ahead and decide where you're going. So obviously you should already have, if you're flying, have your flight booked. And then go ahead and, make your packing lists. I'm sure there are tons of great uh, apps, and check Pinterest and things like that, but go ahead um, and make those lists if you can, especially if you're traveling somewhere that is the opposite weather of where you are now. You can even go ahead and pack, which is what I would do. Because again, I would want to just go ahead and be ready, so then at that point I could like neurotically clean the house for the 2 days beforehand. And so, and that's just a really easy way to help yourself out, though, because the closer it gets to that, the busier it's going to get. And especially if you're going to have time where the kids are out of school before you leave, then it gets really hectic because they're going to kind of be, constantly next to you. When are we going? Are we leaving yet? When are we going? Are we leaving yet? So, just help yourself out and go ahead and pack if you're able. Or even it's going to be, if you're somewhere cold, but it's going to be colder there, so you can pack, go ahead, and if you have warmer clothes, pack whatever you can now. Even if you just go buy, toiletries or whatever. Do something, every little bit, to make it easier on yourself. Decide what holidays, whether you're cooking just for yourself or you're cooking for a large group or just any amount of people, go ahead and make the menus up so that you know what you'll need. And especially because the closer it gets, obviously you guys know the stores get crazy. It's like people forget that these holidays happen. And so go ahead now, have your menu planned out so you can have your grocery list made out accordingly. And a lot of stores now have this where you can like order your groceries online and go pick them up. And some meal planning services are linked up to that, so you can do that kind of stuff, and that's an even bigger. Then you don't even have to go, you just send them your grocery list, or the meal service sends the grocery list to the store, and it's done. I live in Texas, so of course HEB is the way, the truth, and the light, and that's and of course we don't, I say I don't cook for a lot of people. I mean, I'm only cooking for 6, and we don't do a lot of the traditional like holiday foods, so it makes it a lot easier. But especially if you eat meat and you have a freezer, this is the time to stock up on like turkey and ham, because it's going to be cheap and you can feed a lot of people with it. So if you got a lot of kids to feed, go get you some turkey and ham. And what I like to do, I like to get the big rolls of like butcher paper, and I make out, like, I don't even put it on my regular calendar. I have like a calendar. I have like an October, because we have October birthdays, so October, November, December, and I look at the kids' class parties. Okay, put those on the calendar, and then off to the side. Okay, kid 1 needs this many treats for this. Kid 2 needs this many treats for this. Everything they're going to need treats for. Look at the, if you have any holiday birthdays, like look at where that falls. Are you going to be taking treats to school? Are they going to be in school? Get that written down. If you're going anywhere for the holidays, okay, put that on there when you need to pack by, when you're, get the kids' holiday lists if you do Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever, if you're buying them presents, if you're going to let them ask for whatever they want, get that now. Get that now. And, order it on Amazon now. I don't, I'm not going to go fight the stores. After a certain point, do it now. And then, look at all the, if you're having invitations, if you have office holiday parties, school, friends, social events, charities, whatever, that are having holiday parties, look at that. And you don't have to go to every single thing you're invited to, because you have to keep you have to keep yourself sane, and you have to keep your kids sane. You have to keep things kind of, so it is absolutely okay to turn that stuff down. You know, look at what's going on that calendar. And I would say, especially because like this year, Christmas is on, I think it's on a Monday. So there's going to be a lot of holiday parties like the couple weeks beforehand. Well, the kids are going to be out of school too. So if you're like me and like you don't have a sitter and you can't bring your kids, it's like I'm just not going, which is fine by me. If it's something you really have to go to, I know especially a lot of people feel very obligated to go to like office holiday parties for work. You know, go by yourself, shake the appropriate amount of hands, have like, you know, a Coke, and then go home. And that's okay. But keep it to a minimum. You know, you don't have to go to like, I've seen so many people get so many invitations and they feel so obligated to go to every single thing, and then by the time Christmas rolls around, they're like pissed at the whole thing. Especially if it's people you don't want to be around. You know, there are a lot of polite ways to excuse yourself, especially when you have kids. If I invite someone somewhere and they're like, no, I can't because of the kids, I'm just like, okay, that's fine. Like I say, especially if you have a situation where you don't necessarily have someone who can watch your children for you other than your spouse and like one other person. But go ahead and plan all that out now, or as soon as possible, so that you really, you know what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and you can especially already see everything kind of lined out so you don't double book yourself, especially with like two important things. You know, if you've accepted an invitation somewhere and someone doesn't understand that you can't attend their event because you already accepted another invitation that got there sooner, I mean, I don't know what to tell you, they suck. But, you know, I would do no more, like including my kids stuff, I would do no more than like 2, maybe 3 max a week. And that depends on, you know, we have 2 December birthdays in this house. So if I include the birthday, then I'm like, okay, that's 3 for the week. And that's the most. Excluding the birthdays, I keep it to 2 a week just because that's plenty for me. But you can go ahead now and plan out, you know, what you're going to do while the kids are out of school, groceries, presents, anything you want to get done. I would go ahead and do that, look into that, and try, that way you can really, you know, if you have all that planned out, and you have that kind of, and I understand things come up, things happen, but this way you can kind of have more of a sense of control over it. You at least have a general idea, you know, figure out where you're going, what you're doing, who you're going to be with, presents you need to pick up, wine you're going to need to get through this, and you know, if you're getting meals catered, arrange for all of that as soon as humanly possible, because otherwise, you know, you may wind up on holiday with like a box of frozen taquitos and like a pizza. And if that's your deal, then it's great. But if that's not what you want to feed like 25 people, then maybe think about that. So that's just, you know, my friendly advice for the upcoming holidays. I hope it's helpful, so please do give a thumbs up. And if you have any holiday prep advice, please let me know down below in the comments. And you know, subscribe and come back soon for another video. See y'all next time. Bye.